Hello, my name is Elijah Wells, and today's review is Mike Mitchell's new movie, Kung Fu Panda 4. Taking place sometimes after the events of Kung Fu Panda 3, Po, voiced by Jack Black as usual, is now pretty much at the peak of his powers as the Dragon Warrior, but now he must pass on that role to a new successor and to become the spiritual leader of the Peace of the Valley. But however, this becomes a lot more pear-shaped when Zen, a fox bandit voiced by Awkwafina, teams up to defeat an evil empress sorcerer known as the Chameleon, who steals other people's abilities and powers to essentially become the ultimate kung fu nemesis of Po. For DreamWorks post-pandemic, it has been a pretty odd past couple of years for DreamWorks, considering what they've been up to post-pandemic. There was Trolls World Tour, which was released on the same week as the pandemic really took hold of the world, and being released as direct-to-video, while almost going to cinemas and pretty much angering every cinema owner there is, to the point there was some boycott with Universal and a lot of cinema change, but they reconciled by the time the third film came out. There was the Croods and Spirit sequel, which just came and went, and there was a sequel to Boss Baby, which I don't remember ever happening until I just looked at this list on Letterboxd. I imagine this movie's got a lot more awkward since what happened with Alec Baldwin. There was Bad Guys, which was a surprisingly popular film at the moment. There's Puss in Boots, one of the more critically acclaimed animated films they've done in recent years, and of course gone into a lot of hype of new Puss in Boots and more Shrek films. And then there's Teenage Kraken, which was pretty much Calamari on day one, as it completely disappointed the box office. And there was Trolls 3, which, from the sounds of it, just came and went. So DreamWorks really needed to essentially have a really big and lasting impression from one of the biggest franchises that started off in the late 2000s and made two sequels in 2010s with 2 and 3. So what better way to do it as to make it solely about Po, as it's about Kung Fu Panda. So the movie is doing away with the Furious 5, so we'll just see how that went. Oh wait, there were the Megamind sequels that also came out, which were apparently the worst thing to happen to humanity since cancer, but I just thought I added it on, but who cares about them at this point. I've only just watched Kung Fu Panda 4 only just yesterday at the cinema I work at, and to be honest, I'm already starting to forget massive chunks of the movie, to the point where I'm literally now at this point reading off the film's Wikipedia page, because at this point, I feel like the Kung Fu Panda franchise is starting to really run out of steam, particularly with the fourth installment. Even though my mom says that this is like a really good fourth installment, like, like, I think New Hope is vastly different, let's say, Phantom Menace, but I'll try to belong to your logic. But I feel like this time, what was this film made for? Like, yes, for the fans of the original, like, and also to attract newcomers, but I feel like, what is its purpose at this point? Like, what's the fourth film's purpose? As in, like, yes, it does have Po, like, trying to find a new spiritual lead, be a new spiritual leader, and find a new Dragon Warrior, and team up with Awkwafina's character to defeat the Chameleon. I feel like, where's this all leading up to? Like, what is the end game of this film? Like, what greater and what broader appeal should this movie get? Like, what's the overall consensus about this movie? Like, I don't quite understand what it's trying to accomplish in the long term of things outside of the Dragon Warrior and Spiritual Leader, and that's it. So much so, I feel like the movie's pitch was written on a post-it note. And the characters in the movie, Po, voiced by Jack Black, like I said earlier, he's now about to become a spiritual leader before he gives away his title as a Dragon Warrior. This time he's trying to develop almost a bit of a popé on how to give wisdom to the people around him, how it should travel far and wide. Even though he does deliver some great comedy here and there and some incredible action scenes from here and there, again, when it comes to like finding his own wisdom and how he should incorporate it to himself and to the people around him, there comes a point where he starts to almost like he was selling like a self-help book at this point, like something wisdom, something this and that, oh, not like that, not like this. Like, Po, are you selling me some self-help books at this point? Of course, we have Awkwafina as Zen, as the Fox Bandit, who is actually a really good side character in the movie, a really good addition to the film as well. And considering this is Awkwafina's like third, fourth voiceover role in at the moment, after Little Mermaid live action, after the Migration film, and the upcoming Littlewood, or the upcoming film with Lucky doing the animation. I feel like, even though she won my heart over in The Farewell, I feel like if this is her calling, like doing animated roles of essentially doing animals, then okay. If this is your calling, then good for you, I guess, because I'm not complaining here. And of course we have Viola Davis as a chameleon. Even though the motives do get a little bit muddy about, ooh, I want to steal all your powers and your abilities because I got turned away from every academy there is in the land, and I became this crime lord, empress, or mafia head or something. I feel like her motivations do get a little bit confusing and muddy at best, but her broad intimidation and how she uses set powers is actually really brilliant, particularly in the third act of the movie. Of course, we still have the usual Dustin Hoffman as Shifu, James Hong as Mr. Ping, and Li Shan voiced by Bryan Cranston, and there's also quite prominently Tai Long voiced by Ian McShane, who does feature prominently, particularly in the third act of the movie, as he is brought out of the spiritual realm like is depicted in the movie's trailer. And also we have a reunion of Everything Everywhere All at Once of James Hong and Queen Hong-wei as Han, as the leader of the Den of Thieves, who's only in the film for at best 10-15 minutes tops, which is a real shame because I liked his performance in like Indiana Jones, I liked his performance in Goonies, I liked his performance in Everything Everywhere All at Once. He was a massive highlight in the Loki season 2, but again he feels like he's kind of felt like a last minute adoration because some execs like, oh guys, look, he's won Best Supporting Actor, we must get him in, like, but, and the writer's like, but sir, we don't we don't know what to put him at this point, like, we've done so much script, no, just add a character in, like, okay, maybe at this point I should start striking. As per usual, the series' strongest efforts and strongest assets is the animation. What I particularly like about the animation this time around is how it does its transition and how it does its cross-editing and how it uses two different images at once, or even three. Like, I think there was a couple of particular shots where they used like paint strokes or painting strokes, and they insert another footage into it, almost like, split screen, that's what I was thinking about. Like, when they use split screens, they get very creative about it. Not just to do it traditional 1 or 2 or 3 times, but they use paint strokes as well, which is something I found like really amazing. The fight scenes, particularly with Stingray and the Chameleon, and of course the city's police of rhinos. The animation around that is getting really nice to look at and really satisfying to see. Particularly as Poe's getting chased around by the police and how he's trying to go around an incredibly crowded city where everyone is pretty much wanting him, or he's pretty much acting like a bit of an inconvenience to everyone around him. Again, the animation, particularly in the sequences of the fight scenes and the scene where they enter into the city, or even that scene where it's literally at a tavern or a bar that's literally at a cliff's end, and how it's almost like Inception, where everything rules towards gravity rules, and everything pretty much gravitates to the point where it's starting to sink, which is, again, I feel like this is a very creative use of its fight choreography and how the animation uses that to its great effect. Even though the movie is called Kung Fu Panda, a lot of people were bizarrely complaining about the absence of the Furious 5, even though, like I said, I feel like this movie should really be treated as a solo movie of the previous installments, even though the third film was definitely leaning towards more of a solo film with Poe and Tiger. But I feel like, but also, is that the Furious 5 barely even feature in the movie at all. They feature at the beginning of this is where they're all about, so don't expect them to be in the movie, and at the end, which I think is almost essentially taunting the critics, saying, oh, did you get your money's worth? Here they are! Like, at this point, I felt like, okay, I'm kind of cool with the fact that we're not going to get Furious 5 because it's Kung Fu Panda 4. It was a problem I had, let's say, the Expendables movie, the fourth one, where even though it's built as a big group adventure with all the Expendables, but really it's just Jason Statham's character, just being a really depressed adult at this point. But for this instance, Kung Fu Panda 4, it's about Po. He is the Kung Fu Panda in this movie. Even though I'm hoping, if they do a fifth one, I'm hoping they do utilize the Furious 5 a lot more. Not just for this from this film, but from the previous film, but a lot more. Yeah, at this point, which is a little bit weird, but I'm completely cool with the direction they went for being a more of a central figure of Po, being a more of a central figure of this film, as opposed of the Furious 5 helping him out, even though they barely featured in the advertising. If we're comparing like Kung Fu Panda movies to LCD Soundsystem songs, then this one is losing my edge. The song is about James Murphy kind of losing the spark, the creative spark he had when he got older and not being as creatively successful as he was. I feel like this is a really unfortunate allegory that is Kung Fu Panda 4. Like, the franchise at this point is starting to run out of steam and pretty much lost that spark that made it so enthralling to begin with. Even though I am completely cool with the fact that the Furious 5 were basically a glorified cameo at this point, but it kind of fell apart with the themes that just come off as a bit overindulgent at some instances, the muddy motivations of the villain, and the dialogue that does feel a little bit stiff at some points, and of course the lack of usage of Queen Grey, which again was a bit of a mild disappointment, and we have Mr. Ping and Li Shan, who are essentially just playing third wheel at this point. Even though I feel like this movie, when I gave a synopsis about it and what my opinion about the movie is, I feel like I can only just give it as, okay, that happened. And nothing about the movie kind of sticks around, or not much of the film kind of stuck out for me, like the day after I watched it. Like, I'm reviewing it now and I watched it yesterday. I'm trying really, really hard as I can to remember as much of this movie as I can. Like, even though I might appreciate the movie a little bit more when I watch it again or at any point, but I feel like this is a movie that's a franchise that doesn't have really much of a bright idea where it wants to go after the fourth installment. Because I feel like the third one now looking back at it, felt like a more of an enticing finale, and where the Poe's arc was completely at full speed and pretty much at its end. I feel like this feels more like a obligations by the studio execs, but I feel like they made some good around it. Like, the animation and fight sequences were amazing, and some humor is brilliant, and how the animation is really brilliant at some points. I feel like it's just a franchise that's pretty much ran out of steam at this point. So I'm feeling a 6 out of 10 for Kung Fu Panda 4. So, what do you think of Kung Fu Panda 4? Let me know in the comments below. Like this video, subscribe to my channel, follow me on Twitter and Instagram and Letterboxd. And this is Lightwells, and bye.